Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ran. In this channel, I share knowledge and practical techniques on trauma healing and mental health conditions like eating disorder, bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety. I hope by telling my very own stories that you will somehow feel connected and seen and understood and inspired to keep faith because change and healing are possible. So today I'm gonna still continue this topic of people pleasing. I'm gonna make a series of videos on people pleasing before going into codependency. Even though not all people pleasers are codependents, but all codependents show signs of people pleasing. I know a lot of people pleasers would say that, well, it's nothing wrong with being nice to people, and it's nothing wrong as long as it makes this relationship work and last, right? But still, I wanted to stress the fact that there are a lot of costs comes with people pleasing, and it does more damages to yourself and also people around you. When we're chronic people pleasers, people just seem to learn to take advantage of us. We ended up inviting more boundary breaking behaviors. In every relationship, there's a power dynamic going on. So two people are trying to test each other's boundaries subconsciously. Even when we're children. For example, when we're a child, we do something, test the water of our parents. We do bad things like we draw on the wall, and we sit back and observe how our parents are going to respond. If they respond in a way that they don't really care, then children quickly learn and adapt to the fact that, well, it's okay to draw on the wall. And next time I'm going to do something even lower than the threshold just to test water, just to test boundaries. But if our parents yell at us and they tell us that it's not okay, we learn that it's not okay. So we do the same thing as we grow up in every possible relationship. For example, one day we go to lectures late and the professor didn't actually say anything. And the second day, accidentally, we are still late. And the professor decides, well, not to say anything. So we learn that, well, it's okay, we don't take this class or this professor seriously, and they are good-tempered people. They're not gonna yell at us one day. But if our professor stays in a way that's very firm yet gentle, saying that, well, it's inexcusable to be late every single time. So we learn that it's not okay to take this class not seriously, right? We know that we should respect this professor, and we know we should respect this field, this lecture, this discipline. So in every relationship, it doesn't matter if it's the beginning of a relationship or when this is an ongoing relationship, we have to teach other people how we want it to be treated. But when we people please, when we say that it's okay, doing whatever to me, I'm fine with it, others learn that they won't take you seriously. They know that, well, whatever they do, you won't be mad. So they decide to keep you waiting because you're not going to say anything. They decide to let you do the dirty work because you're not going to say no. And we ended up being someone who take faults for things we didn't do. We become someone who is scared and terrified to defend ourselves, and someone who is never going to say no. It actually does more damage to our self-esteem than we think, because we're forever attentive to other people's needs, to make them happy, to fix or help them. We are disconnecting from ourselves. So we're gonna feel this eternal and persisting loneliness and emptiness inside due to the loss of self. I'm gonna explain this in detail in 2 layers. The first layer is that when we go extra miles to hide who we are, when we're trying to please others, we become externally focused, which is the origin of codependency. When we go extra miles to focus on someone else, when we go extra mile to avoid how we feel, how we think, avoid our needs and feelings, to be forever in denial of our truth, we live in empty shell. There's a reason behind that, because maybe when we're children, we are forever being neglected by parents. We are being ignored by them. And when they are emotionally unavailable, we thought as a baby, even though we don't know how to voice it, but deep down, we feel like there's something wrong with us. So we have to do things to change the dynamic to survive. We have to do something to make them happy, to cheer them up, to make them laugh, to make them connect with us, so that we could survive. But when this becomes a pattern, We'll forever be externally focused. We depend on others to tell us that we exist. We keep running away from our real emotions because they're just too painful. We feel this emptiness, we feel this loneliness, we feel this overwhelming amount of shame. The shame that there's something wrong with us, the shame that we're not good enough to get our parents or caretakers' attention and caring. So we learn that it's not okay to be ourselves unless we do something to prove our value, we do something to keep the other around, to not abandon us, to not be separated from us. So we have to be dependent, like overly dependent for our self-identity because we don't have identity when we're by ourselves. The second layer is that the most important aspect of a healthy self-esteem is alignment. Alignment between your words, your action, your mind, and your value system. When we people please, we're breaking the promises that we're making to ourselves. We're betraying self-integrity. For example, if someone wants to borrow a pencil from you in a test, even though you only have one pencil that you need to write with, but you are afraid to say no, so you just let them have it at the expense of your own test scores. You are self-sacrificing, not because that you wanted to, deep down you don't want to, because you need to finish your test, but you're terrified of conflicts, you're terrified of saying no to others so that they won't be happy with you. You're terrified if one day they decided to leave you and they decided not to be friendly with you anymore, they decide to abandon you. And when they abandon you, when they do so, you lose yourself because you have no identity around yourself. You have to have identity around other people when you're externally focused. For example, for me, I grew up in a family, not my original family, but I was adopted at the age of 8 by my uncle and auntie. So in this family, since it's not my original family, I was terrified because I was worried that one day they might wake up and decided that they don't want me anymore. They just want to abandon me. So I walk on eggshell every day. And I was a very talkative child. I was very naughty. I was very happy and active. But in this family, I learned to keep my mouth shut, to go along with whatever their decision is, whatever they say. I became the scapegoat. I took blame for things I didn't do because I was terrified to defend myself. I was terrified to cause any trouble, to make them unhappy, because I have to adapt to survive, because I was falsely accused of a lot of things that I wasn't, because I was falsely accused of things I didn't do, of the mistakes I didn't make. I became the goody-goody in front of their eyes, even though they think that I'm cute, I'm innocent, but deep down I hated myself. So I was angry, I was bitter, I was sad, I was desperate. But I wasn't able to express those emotions outward, which wasn't allowed at all, because if I direct my anger towards them, one day they decide, well, we don't want you anymore. And that's my deepest fear. So I had to suppress all of those emotions. Because of the suppression, I became severely depressed at the age of 12. And I became very suicidal, which leads to my bipolar right now. But I just wanted to say that there are more costs that we pay as a human being, as someone who needs to live in alignment with themselves. We develop various types of coping mechanisms. For example, for me, binge eating, compulsive shopping, and of course, codependent in relationships. Like I'm addicted to relationships because I couldn't be myself, because I felt empty and I felt desperate and alone. So I just wanted to bring to you the fact that it does more damages to our self-esteem, to our mental health than we think. So we really need to be aware of the trade-off in order to make the decision, one day I don't want to be a people pleaser anymore. So next I'm going to talk about how it actually not only hurts us, it also hurts the people we love and also the people that we are in relationship with. Because people pleasing originates from a selfish purpose, it comes from a self-serving and self-centered place, that we're seeking something from another person. It's not physical stuff, but it's validation, it's approval. We're pleasing others so that people can give us what we need, what we lack at core, which is the feeling of being good enough. So this naturally creates this imbalanced relationship dynamic. When one party is seeking something from a lacking perspective from the other person could feel it. They could subtly feel that they are being taken advantage of. Even though from the outside it looks like, well, they are the one being served, so what's there to complain? But they feel uncomfortable. They feel confused. For example, I'm gonna use a personal example to explain this. So a couple of years ago, I was interning at a company and I met this girl. We became very close friends. And just to be clear, that we're not lesbians. So when I say that she clings to me, it does not mean that she is romantically attracted to me, but she kind of just become this needy and manipulative person. She always kisses me up, even though for the obvious that I did something wrong, which I knew I did something wrong. But she's gonna say bad shit about other people. She's gonna say, well, you're the good one here, don't worry about it. They suck. They are the worst. They shouldn't have done this to you. They shouldn't have said this to you. I mean, for 1 or 2 times, that's okay, because it shows that they are supportive. But you can tell when someone is sacrificing their own value system. You know, they are bad-mouthing someone else to make you feel good. That's scary, you know. I want to be honestly treated. Just tell me when I make a mistake. Just tell me what you truly think of me so that we can connect in an authentic level. Instead of being a facade that I don't know who you are. It just becomes confusing and uncomfortable. So when the people pleaser is becoming needy and manipulative, deep down, they hold grudges. They are bitter. They are angry. Just like I was when I was a child. They are just suppressing them. But those feelings, they just don't go away. Somehow, they're gonna explode. It's gonna be manifested in this relationship as a bomb at any time. You know, it's gonna be detrimental to relationship. When relationship becomes draining, I would try to run away. When I'm being pleased, I feel uncomfortable because I don't want to be pleased. I want us to be reciprocal. We should feel like we are individual with complete sense of self, with a clear defined boundary, so that I know that I'm dealing with someone who's mature and who is just freely giving out and taking without manipulating the other. So when I feel like I'm being manipulated, I somehow become scared, but I feel guilty. What is being sacrificed here is this mature, nourishing, and deeply connected relationship that if we are both our authentic self, we could have connected in a more meaningful way. Alright everyone, I hope I explained this relationship dynamic well, and also the costs that we need to pay as people pleasers. So it comes to a point that we really need to make a decision on if we still wanted to be this person, or we should go back to find ourselves, who we are, and set firm and healthy boundaries to defend ourselves while developing this ability to build meaningful relationship with others in a deeper level with true authentic self. Alright, I hope you like this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.